and welcome to Inspired By. Today's inspiration is coming from Disney's Epcot, which is where the Living with the Land attraction is. It's one of those rides, it's like a leisurely boat ride, and you learn all about how to grow things and farming and agriculture and hydroponics and aquaponics and all really, like to me anyway, really fascinating things about the science of growing food. So today I'm going to be making a pesto sauce out of basil that I grow at home. So let me show you around. Here's a little overview of my garden. I have limited space, so I grow things in pots on these 2 tray tables here. And I also tend to grow things maybe I shouldn't be growing indoors, but I try anyway, and sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. So what's in my garden right now, this is actually a pumpkin plant. It's not fruiting, but the leaves look pretty healthy. This is a mystery plant. I have no idea what it is. Somebody got the seeds as a gift and gave them to me from like some sort of party. It was like a favor, and I still don't know what it is, even though it's growing. This is my basil. So I have one little basil over here, but then the basil has gone kind of out of control, which is why we're going to be making the pesto today. We have to trim this back and get this into a better situation here. I also one time was eating a lychee and I stuck the pit in dirt, and a tree is growing. The leaves are browning and I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. My research is telling me my soil is not acidic enough. So one thing that came up for like an organic way of fixing that was to put coffee grounds in the soil. So I've been giving that a try. So you'll see this soil is a lot richer and clumpier because that's a lot of coffee that's in there. This one is my avocado tree that is not quite treeing yet. It does have a really good root system. I started it in one of those cups and I let the roots get really long before I planted it in the dirt. So I'm waiting to see if any height comes from it. I have this one sunflower kind of clipped onto a chopstick. It doesn't have a head yet, but it looks like it might in the near future, but we're not there yet. Then I have an orchid plant that was a gift. Let me go on the set of the lights. The orchid is entering its dormancy stage, so all of the flowers have been falling off recently, but that is not a reflection on the plant's health. All orchids become dormant at some period and then will reflower in the future. I don't know if you could see, but like over here, there is another part of it that is, growing, and maybe some blooms will come from that. We'll see. Then over here, this is my aloe vera plant. His name is Spike, kind of like from Buffy. And then this is mint. I was ordering some groceries and I had the option of getting like a little packet of mint or getting a plant. I was like, give me the plant. I'll add it to my garden. So now I have a mint plant. So this is my garden, and let's go get a container to start trimming the basil down. So here are our ingredients. Here is all of the basil that I had harvested. This is about 3 cups of basil. So the recipe that I'm using is actually adapted from a Bon Appetit recipe that I got a long time ago. So shout out to Bon Appetit. This has been like a go-to pesto recipe for me. So we have the basil going into the food processor. Oops, lost one. Okay. Followed by, we have pine nuts. So this is the package of the pine nuts. They also go by pignoli nuts. Same thing. So we have about 1/4 of a cup of the pine nuts, and those are going in there. Next up, 1 clove of garlic. Can go in there whole since we're gonna be, basically pureeing everything. Then this is Parmesan cheese, and we have about 1/3 of a cup here. Okay. So the last ingredient that we have is extra virgin olive oil. We're going to be adding this in slowly, so we don't want to just dump the oil in there right just yet. So first we have everything in there. We're gonna start to blend this up or puree this. Okay, so we have this first kind of basic blending going on. As you can see, it's still pretty chunky. It looks a little dry because there's no oil in there yet. So we are going to add 2 things. We're going to add some salt. It's about half a teaspoon of salt that we're adding in. And here's our oil. So there's about 6 tablespoons of oil here. So I'll put a little bit in just to get it going, and we're gonna kind of add it as we go. And there we have it. We have our pestos all mixed up. So you see it's nice and blended and smooth. So we are going to take the blade out. Always be careful with the blade. They're very, very sharp. Then from here, I'm going to put this in a jar so I can use it later. I have a couple of jar options. This one was a pickle jar. I don't remember what I got this one from. I think this was a honey jar. But if you get a good sized jar from something, hang on to it. They can be useful. Always make sure you run it through the dishwasher, or if you don't have a dishwasher, that you sterilize it by, after you hand wash it, boil it. Just to make sure that there's no bacteria that's going to grow on your food. And we're just going to jar that up. Oh, making a mess. So there you have it. We have homemade pesto. Straight from being on a plant to being in this jar. I hope you were able to learn a lot and really enjoyed this video and learned how to make a tasty addition to your food. This pesto is really wonderful and it can be used on a lot of different items. You could use it as a sauce on pasta. You could use it as a topping on a chicken or a fish dish. It really is versatile and it works well for a lot of different dishes. It's something great to have on hand. My basil plant, I harvest probably twice a year. It gets to have enough leaves that I can make a substantial amount of pesto. I really don't want to make any less than this because it's a bit of, it's a bit of work to do to harvest and to, put it all together for less than, a couple meals worth. But that being said, basil's really easy to get. A lot of supermarkets sell it now fresh by the bunch or even as a plant. So if you want to start a basil plant and you don't want to grow from seeds, it could be as simple as going to your supermarket to pick it up. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more, hit that like button, please subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button if you want to be notified next time I post a video. And until then, stay inspired by